Alright guys, welcome back to part 2 of the Speedway Motor Tanks EFI fuel tank removal install. So part 2 is going to be full removal of the original fuel tank on the 66 Mustang. You can see this is our cruddy old Mustang fuel tank. Cool thing about this Mustang, it still has all the original backing. It has the floor mat, the tire cover, the jack holder. It's cool stuff. You don't see that in all old vehicles. Also, a good body tank pan. This Mustang I got super lucky with, no rust at all. Been garage kept for 20 years. Undriven, unran, dead. And I'm the lucky one that gets to restore a good quality Mustang and then ruin it by autocrossing. So, attack me if you want, but I want to have fun. Gosh, cars are so easy back then. Look, all your light accessories just right there. Everything's so easy. Fuel tank, wide open, easy access. You don't have to lift the whole body or bed or anything. You don't have to use a 4-post. You can just get it right here. So, first things first, if you haven't already, drain the fuel. There's a little spigot on the bottom, twist it, all the fuel comes out. Second thing, remove your fuel nozzle. So all you really got to do is just take off these clamps and slide this hose out after you get these little bolts out. So you got to take the fuel cap off, those bolts, these clamps, at least the bottom one, so you can just slide it out. Oh no, you got to do the whole thing because this won't come out. And then you can, well, I mean, you can take all the bolts out first. It's not going to matter. It's just easier pulling this out of the rubber hose when the tank's still installed. If not, it's gonna be wobbling everywhere. All right, so moving all these. Now this is a 5/16. These are all 5/16. I don't know, that's weird. This one's been like covered up with something weird. All right, put these in a magnet tray and move on. Okay, got my magnet tray, got those bolts out. I also went ahead and got these clamps out. These are also 5/16, and they just thread out like a spring loaded. Now it should, with some persuasion, should come out. You're gonna wanna kind of razor around this edge so that you don't chip any paint if it has been painted over like this one. This is not the factory color. So you just want to razor around the edge. I'm gonna need both hands to pull it out though. All right, so I got everything out. Every single one of these screws was 3/8 inch, except for this one. This one was a weird 1/2 inch bolt. But I got it all out. To get this fill tube out, I had to spray some JB Blaster around inside the rubber seal. Use a screwdriver to pry around and then turn that back and forth until it finally slid out, because the rubber hardened. It got stuck around there. So the JB Blast W40 whatever helps to lubricate and pull it out. I got all the bolts out. I drained as much fuel as it would let me out. As you can still see, there's still some sitting in there. Not a ton, but enough to make a giant mess. So what I'm gonna do next is, so we'll zoomed way out. I'm gonna go underneath, cut the fuel line, and then crimp it, clamp it down, and put a rubber cap over it so when I pull it out it's fine. Then I can wash out the fuel safely. All right, as you can see, I cut that fuel line going there. I try to use this little tube cutter, which obviously it's working, but fuel started leaking back out, so I grabbed my giant Harbor Freight cutters, put a few clamps in here and stop the fuel from leaking out, and then a ton in here, and then I also bent it so it's not leaking anymore. And then we're just gonna pull it out and drain it safely when we get it out. I'm gonna leave this rubber extension on just so if any fuel starts to come up, it'll have that much more. It has to go up before it spills on me. Because I'm sure this isn't light. So we'll see. Alright, so I got the fuel tank out. However, it had all this RTV butyl double-sided sticky tape stuff that made it stuck. So I had to get like a little pry bar, angled pry bar back there and right here and pry it up and lift. And finally it came up, but man, I'm drenched in sweat and this was hard. I was wondering where it fell. This is what I had to use. So I mean, I had to literally pick up. It wasn't that easy. It was hard, especially by myself, and there wasn't like any area right here. I can't do anything right here. The screwdriver wouldn't fit because of that slant. Yeah, this angle, but we got it out. The crimp works. As you can see, the floor is dry, and all that dirt's just from this tow bar, which I am leaving the tow bar, that way I could haul a little trailer for my spare tires. So that's it. That is all for part 2 on the removal. Stay tuned for part 3 on the install of the new tank speedway motor kit.